Hello, and welcome to Alchemy Mindset. I'm your host, Anna Hastie, business mindset coach for women and a sound healer. If you are ready to become the most aligned, magnetic, and confident businesswoman you are worthy and deserving of being, then this show is for you. This is where I share everything from mindset, energy, and spirituality, and how to embody your future self in business and life. Sprinkle that with deeply relaxing sound healings and meditations, and you have the Alchemy Mindset podcast. Hit subscribe so you always get the latest episode. Now let's begin. Hello, and welcome. Welcome to Alchemy Mindset, where today I'm sharing another fabulous interview, this time with Tracy Fryer. As you'll hear in this episode, hot on the heels of COVID in July 2020, Tracy opened her doors to her business. And within a few months, under the guidance of a mentor, she was ready to hire her first contractor. And since then, her business team has grown. What I love the most about this interview with Tracy is her reflections of her personal growth and mindset she has navigated on her business journey. Tracy shares her self-care routine and why this is absolutely so important for her to be the exceptional business leader and CEO of her branding agency, Design Studio Perth. I also had to ask Tracy, being the branding expert that she is, what is the difference? What is the difference between branding and marketing? What needs to come first, and why it's so important to anybody running a business, whether you're new or you've been in it for a while. With a wealth of creative experience, Tracy is unwavering in her mission to produce distinctive brands and to empower business owners to enjoy greater success through Design Studio Perth. Her business mindset, partnered with her creative flair, makes her the ideal leader to an expert team of creatives. Her creative ambition also resulted in the launch of Trace Designs Bespoke, where Tracy crafts unique jewellery for an incredible range of clients. Our conversation is one of a great reminder, reassurances, and those behind-the-scenes moments of wisdom and experience that anyone in business can benefit from. So enjoy this episode with Tracy Fryer from Design Studio Perth. And of course, if you have any branding questions, head on over to her website or LinkedIn to find out more. So sit back, relax, enjoy this fabulous conversation with Tracy Fryer. Now let's begin. Hello. Welcome, Tracy. Welcome to Alchemy Mindset. It is such a pleasure to have you on the show today. Welcome.
Thank you, Anna. I'm looking forward to our chat.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I just know it. So let's just start. Tell us, introduce who you are, Tracy, and how you started this fabulous business of yours.
So I'm Tracy Fryer from Design Studio Perth, and my business journey and creative journey started many moons ago. When I was actually 12, I sold my first painting. I've been a creative my entire life. My mom has a drawing that I did of spiders when I was 2, and she loves to bring it out at the family barbecues. So that's kind of where it all started, and really embraced that creative journey throughout school. And at uni, I studied visual arts and graphic design. And yeah, I've always had a side hustle for as long as I can remember, from the age of 12, should I say. And after COVID, it was a bit of a wake-up call for me, thinking, what am I doing? I always felt like I had a bigger calling on my life in the creative space. And I started Design Studio Perth full-time on the 10th of July in 2020.
Oh, wow. 10th of July, 2020.
Yes, so just after COVID sort of went down. So, yeah.
Wow. Gosh, I know quite a few businesses that were in the same sort of mix. Like, no doubt you didn't just go wake up one day and go, oh, I'm just going to start my business, and it's July the 20th or July the 10th, 2020, and doors are open. Like, this was obviously brewing for a while. How did you keep the faith and hold space for yourself that it was all going to work out despite COVID and the mix of all of that? Because nobody anticipated that, right? So I'm sure that your planning for your business was well before COVID even like reared its head.
Yes.
How did you navigate that?
So I think there wasn't any certainty that it was going to work out. I think I was just so fed up with, being unhappy in my job. And it wasn't anything my employer was doing. I just had this pattern whereby every 2 years I became deeply unhappy. And, you can only sort of give so much feedback to an employer. You're quite restricted in what you want to do. And naturally, I would try and lead because I am a leader, by heart. And it wasn't received very well. So I think, yeah, it was actually my husband who said to me, Trace, you're so unhappy in your job. Why don't you just do your own thing full time? And it was like a massive light bulb went on, and prayed for a sign, got it probably 2 weeks later because my eyes were, of course, open to seeing it. And yeah, pretty much resigned on the spot. And design studio was born full time. So I had freelance for a number of years. I'd always done a lot of graphic design on the side. I studied jewelry design as well. So I was doing a lot of bespoke engagement rings, wedding bands. It's just always been a part of my life and in my blood. And yeah, hit the ground running. And I think, having a little bit of a nest egg saved, because of course it's expensive to be alive. So I had a nest egg saved and kind of used that, which also I think from a mental health point of view kind of eases the pressure a bit because you have got a bit of money saved that you can kind of fall back on, if heaven forbid it doesn't work out. But to be quite honest with you, failure has never been an option for me. And I'm so focused on my mission and educating business owners around branding and how they can really leverage it in their business. I mean, there's been tough times, I'm not going to lie, but I'm just very focused on where I'm going and growing.
Yeah. Absolutely. So COVID happened and you're like, oh, well, whatever's happening in the world around me, I'm still moving forwards on this. Like, I'm not giving up. This is going to come. This is all going to evolve into where I see it going. Is that correct?
It is correct. Yeah, I just had this inner feeling. I believe in God, and I think He just led me to a point where I just had this deeper sense of knowing that this was the right thing to do. Because I had tried to go out on my own probably about 6 or 7 years before that, but I don't think I had the confidence or maybe the maturity to do so. And I also had all my jewelry and my branding, and I used to do art as well, all merged under Trace Designs. And of course, because there's a product and there's a service and there's a different ideal clients, it wasn't working. So when I started Design Studio Perth, I split everything out. So Design Studio Perth is my branding agency, and Trace Designs Bespoke is my bespoke jewelry line.
Yeah, amazing. And then when you started the Design Studio Perth, were you the only team member, or did you already recruit people in to be part of your team?
No, so it was me, myself, and I, the three of us. And I thought it would actually just be me for the first 5 years. Again, they don't teach you at art school how to run a business. And I crossed paths with an amazing business coach. That was probably around about August 2020. And my mind was open to the idea of bringing a team member on and how that would allow me to, I guess, broaden my services, broaden my skill set, free up more of my time. Because I think majority of business owners, we have this goal of freeing up more of our time, but I guess there's a lot of work to be done before that. So yes, I took on my first contractor. That was in December, Danny. She was my first team member. And then I took on Mav, who's my amazing ops manager now. I took Mav on, I think it was around about March the year after. And Mav is still with us, which is great. She now oversees my entire team and liaises with our clients as well. And I'm so proud of how she's grown with us too.
Oh, that's amazing. It must feel really quite inspiring to see your business growing, because you've got quite a few team members on your team with the services that you offer. So it must be quite inspiring to see that you're welcoming new team members on all the time, but creating a business where it's not only inspiring businesses to create the branding that's in alignment with what they're offering, but also creating a team that's also inspiring to work with as well, right?
Yes, definitely. And depending on the caliber of team member that you bring on board in terms of being an A player, it will actually lift your leadership game in so many ways. And, I think it's one thing starting a business and believing in what you're doing, but when you actually see your team come on board and they are so emotionally invested in the brand, in the business, like it really moves me because again, it's someone else believing in your vision and believing in what it is that you do. And I know how hard it is for creatives to actually get into this space. I mean, there's a lot of hoops to jump through. It's a very cliquey industry. So Design Studio Perth, while we're dedicated to helping our clients grow with distinction, we're also very dedicated to helping our team grow with distinction as well. And people spend most of their life at work. If you don't enjoy it, it's very depressing. So really have a culture of enjoying what you do, loving what you do, and essentially growing from what you do as well.
Wow, that's great. That's so great to hear, because I think that's the one thing that within starting a business is, like you said, we all start with it's just me, myself, and I, right? It's just us, just the individual. Yeah. And then at some point, there's going to be an element where you're like, I need to outsource something or I need to hire someone on, depending on what kind of business I'm offering. But to create that culture where people want to stay and they believe in what you believe in and they want to, make it the best possible as well. I think that's a true testament to someone who's like a great leader and someone who can really inspire and encourage and take care of their employees as well. Because, I think maybe this is a generalization here, but there's probably some places out there, some industries, some workplaces where, employees aren't valued in that same way. And you're right, like, they go to work, but they're not inspired, they're not happy, and they're not going to give their best output.
No, definitely not. And just also to be clear, I haven't always been this way. I have worked with an amazing business advisor who's really helped me level up in every sense of the word. Again, they don't teach you this stuff at art school. I mean, they teach you how to use, computer programs and how to be creative. But when it comes to human relationship, which is very complex, and being a leader and a business owner, they don't teach you that part. So it has been a learning journey for me as well along the way.
Yeah, so you've seen that your growth has come from receiving coaching or mentoring as well?
Definitely.
Yeah. I think that's important for every business owner in some respect, that no matter where your growth is or where you're starting or even moving through or journeying towards, that there is a time when it's okay to lean on a mentor or a coach or to seek that knowledge to fill the gap of something that you don't know so that you can basically be the best when you get into that next section of your business.
Yeah, definitely. And also something you have to weigh up is how much time do you want to waste trying to learn something that someone, who has potentially a lot more experience than you do, they've done the hard yards, they've learned it. You can essentially really leverage off that experience and save yourself so much time because you're not, well, trust me, there's a lot of blood noses still, but you're not having, those other 100 blood noses that you kind of avoiding by working with that person. And I think every business owner needs a mentor or a coach or an advisor in some capacity, especially if you are driven and do have big goals. There's a lot of knowledge on the internet, but again, it's where do you find it? So if you are trying to achieve things in a certain time frame, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, absolutely. And just have someone to like bounce ideas off or to lean on when you're not feeling great
Oh,
and things aren't flowing your way.
yes, as they sometimes do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then when you started your business, like what was some of the mindset that went around? Like what was some of the things that were going through your head of like, can I do this? Can I not do this? Does this feel right? Like you said, you asked for a sign and you received one, but was there, in knowing that you were going to open your doors and during COVID time, which, I know so many other businesses that started during that time as well, but it's like, where was your mindset within that? Like, was there anything in particular that came up that challenged you, or was it smooth sailing and there was no problems?
I think for me, when I first started, I was so driven by the passion that I have for creativity. Like I say, it's been a part of my life forever. And I think I was so just driven by that, the idea of, imposter syndrome and can I do it or can't I do it wasn't really there. It was more just focusing on how I could be of service to others and use creativity to help others. For me, I think the other kind of stuff started rolling in, like, self-doubt and imposter syndrome and all that other lovely stuff. As my own, I guess, bar got shifted, every level has another devil. So again, as you go and grow and your own goals move, self-doubt will naturally come into play as it does. But that's why it's so important to work on your mindset and make sure that you are navigating that, because what's between our ears can sometimes be extremely destructive if you're not careful.
Oh, 100%. I really do agree with that. I mean, that's why I love doing mindset coaching. I want to support women in business to feel so strong within themselves that what they're
Yes.
doing, there is no doubt. Like you said, you had the passion and you had the fire, but it came later on as you were growing and developing that there was the self-doubt as to like, was it more so like that conversation of like, I'm not sure if this is possible for me, or I'm not good enough, or I don't have the knowledge?
I think the thing is we start to look what everyone else is doing. And again, social media portrays things in such a way, but we don't really know what's going on for that person behind closed doors. So you kind of go into comparison mode and think, oh my gosh, this person's done that. And I used to do this in the beginning, which is, I don't recommend, we're all on our own journey and it's the worst thing to do to yourself. And I now don't do that. But it's, yeah, I guess as I was going and growing and you look at what other people are doing in the space, that sort of doubt comes in. But I think something I underestimated that is having a business will impact every single area of your life. And I don't care who says what, that is absolutely true. It will, show all the cracks, all the flaws. Whilst it's a very beautiful personal growth journey, it will definitely impact absolutely everything that you do, your friendship circles, your relationships, everything.
Yeah. Did you see changes then that happened within your friendship circles or relationships or with family or anything like that?
Yeah, I did. So I think with my family, when I first told them I had quit my job, my one of the first questions I was asked was about my maternity leave. Bless my mom and them. But again, it's a different generation. And I said to my mom, like, I'm not going to hang around for a baby that might not happen and give up on my dreams. So that was my focus, but they're very supportive. They've always, embraced my creative journey. It wasn't like I had to go study law or be a doctor or anything like that. They really
No.
have embraced me and my ways and let me draw on the walls when I was small. So that was my family. And then in terms of my friendship circles, it's interesting because I think when you step into a greater version of yourself, people around you get uncomfortable because they realize what they may be lacking within themselves. So yeah, it was just wasn't so well received in some friendship circles. So probably about maybe 2 years in, my entire friendship group changed,
Wow.
which is fine because I think you outgrow certain people as well. And as you make space in your life, you kind of attract like-minded people into your circle. And, 4 years in now, I fully understand the power of, you pretty much become whoever you hang out with. So you have to be very selective in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. I see this a lot in a lot of mindset or manifestation coaches or people that are talking in the energetic realm that, if you want to expand yourself and going towards different levels and goals, who are you surrounding yourself? There's a saying, isn't it? Like you're the sum of the people you hang around with or something like that. So,
Yes.
and like it's a fine line, I feel like, with that quote, because there's some friendships that they're near and dear to us and, they're not worth destroying or burning to the ground just because they're not on the same journey.
Of course.
But there are some friendships where we're like, well, actually, we're not in alignment on the same path and journey and if supporting each other and all those kind of like, I guess, feelings and attitudes that you'd expect with a strong, supportive friendship that goes both ways, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like if you're starting to expand yourself as a business owner, like are you supporting yourself around other like-minded business owners who are wanting
Mm.
the growth, who are wanting the development, or are you hanging around business owners who are all doom and gloom and telling you that the world is falling apart and you can't make success around COVID, and all that
Yeah.
kind of thing. So yeah, I agree. It is important to be aware of like who we're spending time with, like the
Mm.
energy that we're expending and receiving from people as well.
Yeah, and I think something important to highlight is that also, it might not necessarily be that our friends can't handle it, but we've actually changed. And we
Mm.
might not see the value in hanging out, with those people and say drinking every Friday and Saturday, for example. Or your interests kind of change and your priorities change. So I think it's just a natural growth progression.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
What other sort of personal growth have you seen within yourself starting a business and then when it's come to like leading and managing a team?
Wow. Okay. So the first part of that question was working on, I guess, my self-worth and being worthy of having a team of eight and a business of a certain size. So I had a big health journey that started about 2 years ago and been focusing on that and just got rid of all my excuses. Instead of hitting the alarm clock, I actually got up early, structured a
Hmm.
morning routine, started, eating healthy, going to the gym. So I've lost 20 kilos in that process. And I just
Wow.
feel, yeah, I feel so much better.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Feel so much more confident. I think the thing is, like, I didn't believe that was possible, but
Hmm.
I am highly competitive and with myself, so I put my mind to it. And yeah, it's been a great journey. Got into running, and I just love to really challenge myself to do the things I think I can't do because usually that's the stories that we tell ourselves aren't true. So from that point of view, that's been my big personal growth journey and just putting myself outside my comfort zone. And with the podcast I launched was completely out of my comfort zone, but I believe that's
Yeah.
where the best growth happens when we are nervous, we are cracking the sweats. We don't feel like we know it all. So I really enjoy doing that because I think that's where growth happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And then
Mm.
when it came to leading the team, what was some of the things within that? Was it just mainly realizing that if I'm going to lead a team, I need to be my healthiest version? Like I need to be present. I need to be,
Yeah.
I don't know what that would have looked like
Yes.
for you.
Yeah. So with leading a team, I had a realization that I'm leading a team that is somewhat dependent on me. They look up to me. And how can they look up to me when I'm not in my optimal state? Where I
Mm.
potentially, and this is one of the reasons I gave up drinking, I've had a big week and I'm hungover. I'm functioning at half mast. How can I expect to lead people if I'm not in my best version of myself?
Mm.
So, that was a big wake up call for me. And yeah, it's been a massive personal growth journey in every sense of the word. But I really love where things are at, and I'm still on that journey as well.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
incredible. I think this really highlights something that I often say to my clients and community is that I honestly feel like running a business and stepping out on your own in this like arena
Mm.
really does help shift and highlight so much personal growth. Like it's so much inner
Yes,
development work that goes on behind the scenes. And
completely.
it's sometimes work that we just don't expect is going to have to happen or will happen or that we're facing to happen. But I wouldn't say, like, I personally feel like within my own journey and personal growth and inner development from operating a business, I wouldn't have it any other way. Like,
Mm.
it's the things I've shifted and learnt about myself and have, like you said, building that confidence within yourself, like putting yourself out there in ways that are different and not comfortable or the usual,
Mm.
stepping out of that comfort zone. I agree. Like, for me, starting the podcast and I remember like ages ago thinking, yeah, I think maybe a podcast would be a great avenue for me to share content and just get to meet people
Yeah.
and have these amazing fun-filled conversations, right? Like, I
Mm.
love this.
Yeah.
But I was chatting to a friend and we were talking about podcasts and she said, oh, I love listening to this particular one and this one. And I've always believed like this person is the best podcast interviewer. And I'm like, I haven't even started, but already I'm doubting my abilities and that I don't think I could be nearly as great as some of those people because clearly they're better than me already. But, hey, I haven't even started and yet I'm
Yeah.
already tripping myself up with my thoughts and my beliefs as to whether or not I can do it.
Mm. As so many people
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. It's crazy how we sort of, well, not necessarily crazy, but it's the truth. We do
Yes.
often talk ourselves out of doing things that could lead to such greatness because we're already doubting ourselves based on something that we've seen or heard. Like you said, comparing ourselves, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. I would love for you to share, like, as you said, you've gone through like a really big personal health
Mm.
shift and change. What are you doing right now to like maintain your self-care? Because being a leader and running your own business, I do feel like there is an element of like needing to take care of
Mm.
yourself in all avenues, not just like physically, but mental health and as I see it now as well, like our energetic health. So what has that looked like for you as well?
So I have a very religious morning routine that I honor every day because that helps me again be in that optimal state. So I'll get up, I'll journal, I'll pray, I'll meditate. I'm a big fan of sound baths as well. I think
Amazing.
it's such a powerful space when you do submerge yourself in that because being a business owner and myself, my mind goes 100 miles an hour, but it just feels like everything stops in that moment and I can actually just be at peace with myself and make room for other great things to kind of flow into my life
Mm,
because I am go at a very intense rate. But yeah, so part of my morning routine, journaling is very powerful. It's a tool that I thought was an absolute load of crap when I first started, but I was wrong. It really helps me just, have a focus for the day, set an intention. If there's something that I perhaps did the day before that I'm not too proud of, I will journal on that and try to be better the following day. I still stuff up, don't get me wrong. And then exercise has become a massive part of my daily routine as well. So I do a lot of running. I perform a Pilates. It's a mind, body, and soul connection, right? So I try look after those three different aspects of my life because I don't think we can just do one of them to be in our optimal state.
I agree. Absolutely. I feel like I've had a couple of these conversations recently where we've been taught from like the word dot really to take care of our physical health, go for a walk, do some sort of exercise, get out in the fresh air, that kind of thing. And then mental health has been a really big part. And we are physical and we're mental beings as well. So taking
Yeah.
care of our mental health, like looking after, our mental health, how we take care of ourselves, our thoughts, seeking help if we're not feeling happy, that kind of thing. But I'm really keen to see the third key piece come through, and that's the energetic health. Like, how are we taking care of
Hmm.
ourselves spiritually, energetically, vibrationally? Because we are that. We are
Yes.
that mind, body, and spirit.
Mm.
And yeah, I can't wait to see that start to evolve more and be like more like that mainstream conversation rather than be like, oh, that's just woo-woo spirit, God talk or whatever it
Yeah,
is, right?
it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
I think it's slowly opening up. But again, like you said, we're all energy, we're all vibrations. And like, even with journaling and manifestations and all those sorts of things, again, to be on that optimal plane, we need to align all of those so we can, sounds funny, but vibrate on a great vibration,
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I see it that when we're in business for ourselves, we do need to take care of our energetic health. Like
mm,
when we're more connected within ourselves, when we feel good physically, when we feel great within ourselves mentally, we're opening up our channels for our spiritual connection, because we do have a higher self. We do have a conscious. We do have like a connection to something that's greater than us, no matter what we want to label it or call it or describe it, or just know that it's there. And that is part of our life. That's why we're here on this planet in this tiny little blip timeline of this whole entire existence, right? And I really do feel like when it comes to running a business, like if we do stop and take time to like meditate or connect in or look after ourselves on that vibrational level, we can be so much more powerful than what we possibly could imagine. We have more insights, we have more downloads, we have more inspiration to come through. And wouldn't that be just incredible to see how that shifts and changes everything that is happening in the world around us as well? Like, just blows my mind. And I'm so excited to be part of this journey, like to be in amongst the mix and the talk and witnessing these things. And I can't possibly imagine like what is to come beyond my lifetime. But yeah, I do feel like this conversation of energy and spirituality is really coming stronger and stronger within the business world and within the world in general, that this is who we are. Like, we have to embrace these conversations. It's not silly talk. It's not, my grandma doing the tea leaf reading.
No, I love those.
Yeah, I know, right? That'll be me one day. I'll have like, my grandma does the card readings and she plays bowls,
Yeah. I think there's still a lot of resistance around it though. And I see so many business owners who, they won't embrace this because they think it's woo or they think it's a lot of crap. But, they're so great at what they do, but they almost deprive themselves of plugging into the divine and raising the stakes on their own life. Why wouldn't you? I mean, even if you get the one day and it's not there, I mean, I firmly believe it is, but people say, oh, well, I need scientific proof, or I need, but if you really tuned into it, you would find that proof that you need, so there's a bit of pushback on it. And people say, nothing changes if nothing changes. And people will complain about things or say, I'm burnt out, I'm feeling this way, but then they won't set the time aside to actually look after themselves, or they're so busy looking after everyone else in their life, their clients, their kids, their dogs, whatever the case may be, that they can't find half an hour in their day to journal or meditate or just be still, for 5 minutes. So yeah,
absolutely. And there's almost like, I read something today on social media that there's almost like this celebration of being burnt out, or there's this celebration of, pushing yourself to the limits beyond no return. There's almost like a celebrate, like you're a hero for burnout, for just working a ridiculous amount of hours, for sacrificing yourself for something that is your work, or in that respect, rather than realizing that the importance is like honoring yourself and taking care of yourself, because when you do, you're actually getting out of your own way of any other resistance or struggles, and you're allowing more. I mean, if I had to just broadly say it, like the good stuff to come in, right? More inspiration, more connections, more opportunities, that kind of thing.
Definitely. Yeah. And also, what are your priorities in your life? I hear so many businesses, I did an 18-hour day. And I'm like, I can't help my facials at the best of time. But I'm like, well, what have you deprived to do those 18 hours? And was those 18 hours really a productive use of your time? Or do you actually lack the ability to trust someone else to actually help you? Like, it could be mindless admin crap that you're busy with. Like, how much of your day could you actually have delegated to someone else and freed up that time to be with your husband or with your kids, or even just with yourself, So I think some business owners get so wrapped around the idea that no one can do it like them, and I get it. Like, having a business, it's like your baby. It's hard to trust someone. But I also almost think we kind of block ourselves in some way of growth because we're so fixated on that only we can do it a certain way. And I'll be honest, I have a brilliant team who actually can do things better than me. And it's actually has helped me be a better leader in person. So
yeah, absolutely. I think that's a sign of great leadership and great business, when you know that I can let go of the reins and hire someone who is equally, if not better, in this realm or area of work, and they can do the job for me. Like, isn't that incredible? Like, isn't that an amazing and rewarding thing to be able to open an opportunity for someone to step in and share their greatness, their talents, and that you are able to be like, bring these amazing people together and create a service that other businesses are going to benefit from.
Of course. And also freeing up more of your time. I mean, I try not work on the weekends. Sometimes there's stuff that has to be done. I'm not going to lie, that happens. Balance doesn't exist. Sometimes you on the good side, the bad side, you just have to do what needs to be done. But again, having a team, you also have to weigh up the cost. Like, what is the cost of getting a team member, or what is it going to actually cost me personally to not have that team
Mm.
member? It's costing me my
Yeah.
time. It's costing me time with my kids, my dog, my family, whoever it might be. So just really weighing up that cost. And I think, I got a cleaner. It's fantastic because I weighed up the cost. I'm like, well, if I stand and clean my house for 3 or 4 hours, it's going to cost me X amount at my hourly rate. But if I get my lovely cleaner and it's $100 or whatever it is, and it's, she loves what she does, she's happy, and I get a clean house, and it's, I get to
Yeah.
focus on what I love. So
Yeah.
just weighing up, we can't create any more time, and none of us know when our time will be up. So just really trying to create as much of it as possible as we go.
Yeah, I love that. I really like that message there, that looking around, not only just like where you can invite more time in that we do have available. And in your case,
Hmm.
it's like, well, I'm looking at the cleanliness of my house. So I can either do it myself. Yes, I can save some money,
Not my favorite.
but I could also hire someone, contribute to the economy as well, the way I
Hmm.
see it. Like if you're hiring a cleaner, that's not a luxury. That's contributing to the economy and
Yeah,
helping
of
somebody else's
course.
livelihood, right? But it's also freeing up your time. Like you said, like maybe you have some deadlines and you need to spend more time within your business within that short period or that little period of time. Or maybe it just gives you more time to do some exercise, running, journaling, be with your dogs or whatever you like to do, right?
Yeah, or even just go for a facial. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely love my cleaner, Sharon. We have great chats, and again, she's enjoying it, and it frees up my time. So you can't
Mm.
you can't really even put a price on that.
So you touched on briefly, and I just want you to go over it again because I
Yeah,
love
of
to hear
course.
people's experiences. You said that you've enjoyed experiencing sound baths as well.
Hmm.
Just share with the listener. I always love to hear people's feedback and what they've experienced when they've received a sound bath because it is a personal thing and it's always different for everybody. So by all means, Tracy, share
Of
away.
course. I find when I always start any type of meditation, a sound bath, any type of spiritual healing, whether it's, prayer, whatever the case may be, my mind, because I'm in this world where my mind goes 100 miles an hour, it always takes a little bit of time to kind of settle, even if I do a float, whatever it is. But I find instead of giving up and pushing it away, I just go with it. And eventually everything just kind of settles. And I am going to sound very woo woo with what I'm about to say, but it's like you're almost leave your body in some ways because you're not worrying about doing something. You're literally just lying there. And I find, especially with sound baths and the float that I do, it really just almost takes you to another dimension. I know it sounds very
Mm,
out there, but just being still, because I do lead a very busy and blessed life, it's nice just to be still, to be at peace, to not have to worry about a deadline, worry about anything else. And I always find no matter what spiritual healing I do, there's always such fantastic and like non-coincidental things that happen shortly after. So I think because you are channeling your energy in a different way, and like you said earlier, you open up different channels, there's always amazing things that happen. And I usually find what it is that people will actually just randomly start opening up to you because I think, I always believe when the teacher is ready, the student shows up. And in some ways, there might be a conversation that they've been wanting to have with someone, but they hadn't. And then you can always help guide that person to whoever they might need to meet. I know that sounds a bit vague and a bit out there, but there's always something really magical that happens
mm,
the week or two afterwards. So, I mean, I believe in
wow.
signs and all that sort of stuff. So I highly recommend it. And I know, again, a lot of business owners say, oh, it's too, and I can't sit still for 5 minutes. Well, you're choosing not to
Mm.
sit still for 5 minutes. Just give yourself 20 and then you'll be fine. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's so true. I like
yeah.
that. Well, you're not giving yourself 5 minutes. You're having at least 20 to an hour. Somewhere in there,
Yes.
you will finally allow yourself to be still. That's an
Yeah.
incredible testimony as to what you've experienced within the sound bath. And
Mm,
that sense of having like your mind become still and
mm.
that you're just present within the moment is really powerful. Like that
It
is like
is.
one of the key basically experiences that many people have when they go to a sound bath.
Mm.
They not only just feel relaxed and they just receive some nice peaceful sounds, but
Yeah.
it does really work on our brainwave states. And you've just said it, like my mind is a lot more calmer. I
It
feel a bit
is.
more relaxed. And then having that, as you said, you sometimes feel like you've just had like a bit of, you've gone off somewhere on a little journey.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do. Definitely. 100%. And again, it's like it's a process, right? So if you start this journey and you're extremely wound up, which a lot of us are, it's going to feel a bit strange. And that's why I always say to someone, at least like stick at something for at least 3 months. Stick at it longer if you can, because you'll get into the rhythm of things. And I think something meditation, being mindful has really helped me with is not to be so reactive. Is be very reactive. Someone
Mm.
would say something and Tracy was up the ladder at a million miles an hour. So it's just really just helped me calm my farm, for one of the better words.
Mm. Yeah. Absolutely. Like if you do stick at it a few more times, you are going to notice
Mm,
shifts and differences from the first time because some people who come, I get some people that just drop straight in. They were like, I don't know where I went. That was amazing. My
mm,
mind was still, love it. I'll come back. And then I'll have other people go, yeah, I just felt really restless. And it's like, well, what are you resisting? What are you feeling restless about? But I bet if you came the second time, because your mind already knows the path and the process of this whole entire session, you
mm.
will probably be able to relax a little bit better because
Yeah.
you already know what to expect. I mean, when I hold my sound bars, I always try and prime people with a little bit of like, this is the flow of today's session, just to try and
Mm.
ease their mind and preempt the ones that are like, what's going on? Or like, I don't
Yes.
relax. But I do believe, like you said, I completely agree. If you come back and you do another one after that, and another one, you're going to be different each time you come anyway,
Mm.
because in between sessions, something's happened, something's shifted, you've experienced something, you've done something. But you do it a few more times, your body and your mind will relax and
It will.
and you will allow yourself to relax more because you have that reassurance of what's going to happen, but
Mm.
you're remaining open to more
Yeah.
things to happen and for more things to be experienced. So what you've explained as well, like going on a journey and then just
Mm.
having those coincidences or those synchronicities that line up afterwards, they are again like often comments and feedback that I get from other people in sound baths. It's so
Yeah.
true. So I'm
Mm.
so glad you shared that. Thanks.
Yeah, no, only a pleasure. It's so, so true. And I think something else that meditation sound baths has taught me is to just surrender. I think one of the things I probably struggle with, which I think a lot of business owners do, is trying to control everything and every situation. And if I don't do this, I'm not, if I don't present this proposal, I'm not going to get this outcome, and just trying to manage every area of your life. So it's really taught me, again, like I said, to just calm my farm, to trust and to surrender and to just go with the flow and not try and control every single aspect of everything happening, because that's freaking exhausting.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to give yourself
Mm.
that sense of surrendering, letting go. It's a really amazing thing to do for yourself. And I'm so glad you're sharing this with the listeners that as a businesswoman, as a leader within a team, that
Mm.
the importance that you emphasize on self-care
Oh, yeah,
so that you can basically sustain yourself because running a business is a
definitely.
long game. It's not,
Mm.
unless you're setting your business up to be sold, it's your legacy. Like, what are you going to be leaving behind? So you need that energy and that vibrancy for the long game.
Mhm. Completely. And I think a lot of ladies struggle, they say, oh, I can't spend $100 on a facial and, I can't set the time aside because I have to go. I'm like, just stop making excuses. Please, like there's options, there's grandparents, there's nannies. I shouldn't say because I don't have kids, but if you can't take $100 and invest that in yourself, then you have to really look at your self-worth as well, and
Mm,
anyone is worthy of just setting aside an hour for yourself to really, because a business will grind you down if you're not careful. And I have been very lost in it when I first started. If you don't have boundaries, if you don't look after yourself, look after your mind, and look after your team, it can eat you alive, to be quite honest.
mm. Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. And you've touched on their boundaries, which is a word that I love. What
Mm.
would boundaries look like for you? Like you said, when you first started, you got a bit
Mm.
lost in it and then you created your boundaries. So how did you know that, oh, I'm getting lost in my business. This is happening. This is maybe overruling or overrunning my life, and I had to create boundaries. And what are those boundaries?
Yeah, so for me, I think I didn't have any boundaries of time. I used to, get up literally at 5, straight on my laptop, tick, tick, tick away. I'd, work till 12 at night. I would just go, 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 which I understand when you first start up, you have to kind of do those sort of things. But, we've got our different areas of our lives. So I've got my faith, my family, my business, my fitness, and something will start in one of those other areas. When I know things are out of whack, something will start suffering, and there'll usually be something that
Mm,
happens to make me aware of that. And because I worked from home when I first started as well, I used to have to, at 5 o'clock, I wasn't, I was Tracy Chihuahua Mama now, and it's Tracy, dinner time. And I would have to separate myself from my beautiful laptop, which I love very much, because otherwise, especially if you're married or have kids, the people in your life that are most important to you start to feel very inconsequential because you're absolutely
mm,
consumed by your business. And don't get me wrong, I love my business very much and it's very important. But also, if you go back to what really matters in your life, it's your people and the time that you have with them. So, like I
mm,
said, something will usually start to give in one of those areas. Then I know that I'm a bit out of whack because I don't believe balance exists, but I do believe we can kind of try and maintain things in a
mm.
way to keep us on track. And I know people say, but oh, if I'm not, doing things at a million miles an hour, I'm not going to get to my goals. But, you know, business is not the be all and end all. Yes, it's very important, but there are other areas of our lives as well. And I think it's important that all those areas of our lives grow with us and they don't get left behind.
Yeah, I think that's a really important message there as well. And that you've highlighted that, business growth doesn't come from being so driven and from being in that frantic, chaotic hustle energy. I
Oh,
mean, that's what maybe business was 10, 20, 30 years ago. That's the culture that we've grown up with. But there is a big shift now where we do need to take care of our energy. Like we've been talking about our physical health, our mental health, our energy health, because that helps to sustain us, but it also helps drive our creativity and our, resilience and all the other things that come with business. And I know for within myself that when I feel very rested, when I feel like I have been taking care of myself, my own self-care, but also like, my relationship with my husband. I mean, I'm the same. I love my business. I could spend forever like diving in and around here, but
same.
at some point I gotta emerge. I gotta leave this room, right? And see him and like spend time with him. Otherwise, he's like, well, we're in a marriage, but I think you're married to your business. Where are you? Right?
Yes,
So,
definitely.
and I agree with you. Like when we have like areas of our life, if we're seeing that, one is a little bit more dominated than the others, is that because it just needs that bit of focus right now? Or is it because it is the dominated one right now and it's just way out of proportion compared to what needs to be focused on other areas like our relationships, or our own health? So it's basically saying like, are there things that we're sacrificing for our business that is not really for the benefit of our business overall or ourselves? Yeah.
No, and also maintaining that clear communication with those around you. I think if you are, married to someone or have a partner that isn't a business owner, it's very hard for them to understand why you're nuts enough to sit and work till 1 a.m. in the morning. So really, as a leader, as a business owner, making that person aware of why you're doing it, what it is that you're doing, and just try and include them on that journey as much as you can, because otherwise you will grow in different directions.
Yeah, that's great advice. Thank you for sharing that.
That's okay.
Yeah, amazing. A couple of things I just want to finish with was in our amazing conversation is just going back to branding, which is what Design Studio Perth is about. What is the difference between branding and marketing? So for anybody who's new to starting a business, what are those two elements like and how do they fit in the big scheme of things?
Yeah, so the analogy I like to use is that branding and marketing is like dating. So marketing is like asking someone on the date, and branding is the reason they say yes. So branding
Ah,
is it's a perception that we like to create in the eye of our audience. It's a feeling that we want them to feel connected with our brand. And marketing are the tasks to kind of showcase that brand. So, for example, you could be doing your Google ads or you're doing your social media management, but you essentially need your visual identity, which is your logo and your brand style guide. You need your messaging framework. I come across so many business owners who don't have their messaging framework established, like who it is that they sell into, who is it that they serve, their ideal clients. That's essentially who your brand is built around. And then looking at your brand media, so your photos, your videos. And in order to really execute effectively on any marketing task there are, those three pillars really need to align in terms of our visuals, in terms of our messaging. If you're going to go and spend 20 grand on an ad campaign, but you have no idea who your ideal client is, well, then you won't get the return that you're hoping for. So I always like to say any marketing branding is an investment of time, energy, and money. And we really want to make sure that it's going to give us the best return. And in order to do that, those three pillars really need to be aligned with our ideal clients. So all our marketing tasks can give us that return and help us grow.
so essentially, would it be branding first in a way, and then you step into marketing? Is that how you would see it?
Yes, definitely. So always establishing the brand first. So I think a lot of business owners, they create their brand around themselves. I mean, some of them don't know any better. They go and copy and paste from a competitor. Please don't do that. So really building out that brand around that ideal client. Once that's established, you've got the brand assets to then create marketing strategy, create a marketing campaign moving forward as well. Because again, you need your key messages, your tagline, you need your logo. And I think there's a lot of business owners think that a logo is your brand. Well, a brand is so much more than that. And it is very multifaceted. And a lot of business owners get very overwhelmed by the idea of branding. But always having those three pillars established, then you can really create any marketing, project thereafter very effectively.
Yeah, that's really good to hear because I mean, I'm just reflecting when I first started my business, I thought branding was my logo as well, right? But
Yeah.
since then, I've learned it so much more, which you've just covered. But it is essentially like the key part of the foundation of running a business. And I know for a fact that for some people, when they do start, opening their doors to serving clients or customers, it is overwhelming. It's like, I have to do what now? Like I have to
Definitely.
create this. And it's not their talent. It's not what they're actually choosing to do as their business.
No.
That's where they could come to someone like you to help support them and things like that.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it goes back to that time. Do you want to, you have to weigh up where you want to, where's the most productive use of your time? Do you want to try and, create your own logo on Canva, which a lot of people have access to? So the likelihood of that logo being bespoke and custom to your business is very slim, and you're going to get lost in a very digitally flooded market. So you have to think about where you want to spend your time, or is it worth investing that time, energy, and money with a professional who can build a brand around your ideal clients. And I always like to say, brand is like a living thing. It's the words that we use, it's like a person. You and I converse with each other through words. We recognize each other by our facial features. That's our logo, our brand identity. And then also how we make each other feel. So think about how you want your brand to make someone feel. If you think of Apple, BMW, Frank Body, which is amazing. They do an amazing coffee scrub. If you go to that brand, like it's such a clever use of brand tone and everything, and brand and experience as well. So that brand in particular, from the moment you go on their website, purchase their product, when it arrives at your door, there's brand cohesion across every single platform. And as a business owner, you really want to create that brand cohesion because we're bombarded on a daily basis with thousands of messages on TikTok, Instagram, every single platform. And if you've got, 25 different messages across the board, or you're not even sure yourself, well, how are you really going to stand out in the market then?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're so true in saying that when we think of big brands or even our favorite coffee scrubs or body scrubs
Yeah.
or whatever it is, like we immediately know what that branding looks like, what their
Yeah.
colors are, maybe what their message is, but we already know what the feeling and sensation is from having that product, right? Or
Yeah.
experiencing that thing that they offer.
And I think a lot of business owners as well say, oh, well, I'm not, I'm not as big as Apple, I'm not as big as Gucci, but those brands weren't always that size. They had to start somewhere and then they kind of grew into that. So I think people really underestimate branding and how they can really leverage it in their business for growth. And I think the stats, when you do brand your business properly, it's up to 40% growth rate. Of course, there's a few different factors that come into play with that. But yes, always branding first and then marketing afterwards.
Yeah, that's really good to know. That's very helpful. Thanks.
Oh, good.
It's always good to speak to the professionals in these arenas because,
Yes, no,
that's what you're here
definitely.
to do. But the fact is, and I think you said something right from the start. You said, I went to art school, I was learning, visual arts and things like that. They don't teach you how to run a business. It's the
No,
truth.
no.
No, it's the same with like when I first started massage therapy. They touched on, like literally touched on the idea of running a business. I think they just gave us some flyers about maybe applying for a tax file number or an
Oh,
ABN or something. I
wow.
don't know. But like nothing else was like, this is how you start your business. These are the elements that you would need to think about beyond like insurance and, your membership for the massage association. There just wasn't any other conversations around
No.
how would you start a business, some of the key elements you'd have to think about, for example, like branding, marketing yourself, even like how to navigate social media, like everything I've personally done within business, and I know you're the same, it's because
Yeah.
it's self-taught at the end
So,
of the
yeah,
day. Yeah,
completely. Yeah.
yeah.
And, with any business that you have, you really want to make sure that you're making a profit. Otherwise, you may as well go get a job. So,
Mm,
again, invest that time, energy, money with professionals. And when I first started, I tried to set up my own Zero. Biggest mistake of my life. Wasted a whole weekend. So really, set up your business properly so you can be making that profit. Otherwise, go work for someone because it's a lot easier than having the stress of a business. So yeah, try set up things as best as possible as you can. And also things grow and change as well. So just because you're doing something now, it isn't set in stone. It always grows as your business does. I mean, our ideal client has evolved
mm.
over time. My business has grown over time as well. But I think instead of being stuck that things are going to be the same forever, just be open-minded that to be flexible as well in that space.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Tracy,
Yes.
what an amazing conversation we've had.
Yeah,
I've
thank you. I've
loved
loved
it.
it. Oh my gosh, I can't believe the time's already gone. I can chat for longer.
I know, right? I'm like, oh goodness, we could just be here all day. This
Yeah,
always
yeah,
happens with
yeah.
my conversations. I look at the time and go, oh my goodness, we could just keep going.
Yeah, it's because you're so easy to talk to. Thank you for holding the space.
Oh, you're welcome. I've
Hmm.
really enjoyed our conversation. I love how you've led us through your business journey and then really shared your personal growth and how you take care of yourself, your self-care within creating, building, and leading and running a business. And also just, highlighting those important aspects between branding and marketing, all those little foundational fundamentals that we do need to know as business owners. So
Yeah. I'm on a mission. Like, there's not enough education around that. So through our webinars, through everything that we do, even our social media, it's all about education and really helping business owners, because a lot of people are time poor. And again, they don't know any better. So if through one of our channels, we can educate someone on what branding actually is or how to add value to their lives, that's what we're focused on.
Amazing. Thank you for
Yeah,
being
cool.
here to do this.
That's okay. Thank you. I'm looking forward to having you on my one as well.
Yes, I can't wait. I can't wait. That's in a
Yeah.
few weeks' time. Tracy, before you sign off, just share with the beautiful listeners where they can find you, how they can get in touch with you if they have questions or needing help around branding. Help us out here.
Of course. So if you'd like to reach me personally, LinkedIn is probably the best place to go. So TRACY, no E, please. Fryer, so FRYER. You can send me a message there. If you'd like to check out Design Studio Perth, you can head to our website or our Instagram. And for my jewelry business, you can head to Trace Designs Bespoke.
Yay, amazing. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you. Thank you for
Amazing.
having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to today's episode. Please rate and review this podcast so that it can continue to thrive and reach more listeners. I love to know who my listeners are, so please screenshot this episode and tag me on Instagram at Anna F. Hastie. And I look forward to connecting with you in the next episode.